So I've been asked to talk to you today about how I spend my time. But what I want to do is flip that switch and put the focus on you guys. I want to give you some thoughts or make you think a bit more about how you spend your time. And there were two important words there, spend and time. What do you equate the word spend to? And what do you equate the word time to? I equate the word time to the blink of an eye, a sharp intake of breath, and the beat of a heart. My name is Dr. Yvonne Thompson, and my resting heart rate is about 70 beats per minute. The normal adult heart rate, resting heart rate, is between 60 and 100 beats per minute. So for the purpose of this session, I'd like to work with the 100. It just makes it a bit easier. So in 1 hour, we will have spent 6,000 heartbeats. In 1 day, if my maths are correct, and I can't guarantee that they are, we will have spent approximately 144,000 heartbeats. Sounds a lot, doesn't it? But let's break that down. Split it into three, actually. How many heartbeats do you spend at work? How many heartbeats do you spend at play? And how many heartbeats do you spend at rest? But just think that if your time and minutes were heartbeats, and we didn't know how many heartbeats we have, would you think more carefully about how you spent that heartbeat? Would you? Good. So I want to tell you a little bit about how I spend my heartbeats. I invest my heartbeats in the people that I love. So I spend as much time as I can with them. I invest my heartbeats in my health. I eat well because I very much agree with the saying that you are what you eat. I also invest my heartbeats in being healthy. So I go to the gym. Yoga and Pilates are my best class. And I've even run 2 marathons. And I really hope I've got at least 1 more marathon left in me. When I am at rest, I de-stress by watching, binge watching, dare I say, Sky box sets. And one of my favorite pastimes is actually playing PlayStation and Xbox. My favorite games on PlayStation is Ridge Racer 1, because I am so much into Formula One racing, and I'm even more into, dare I say it, Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, I heard someone say yeah. I'm also into Drake Uncharted. I've got all 3 of those games because I'm a bit of an adventure junkie. But there's also a real historical aspect to those games. It's quite educational. I'm also into Tomb Raider, but on Xbox, because again, I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie, and I also like a bit of girl power from time to time. So one of the things that I also do, some people might think that it's a waste of time playing PlayStation, but I find it really de-stressing. I find it useful because I can learn all the games so that I can play my grandchildren and beat them at some of their games. I also find it helps me with my memory, it helps me with my reflexes, It helps me with building resilience, because if any of you have played any games, you know that you have to play them over and over and over and over again. So it helps with resilience. And that builds up my resilience, recharges my batteries, because I know at some point down the line, I'm going to have to fight another battle, but not one on PlayStation. So it helps me with that. So some of the other things that I do is that I also invest in education, because I think education is important, continuous, lifelong learning. I also invest in sharing. So some of the things that I do, I coach, I mentor, I give advice and guidance, and I also make sure, wherever possible, that I help as many young people as possible in leadership. So, if you think about successful people, they have 24 hours. They have the same 24 hours in the day that we do. They have the same 144,000 heartbeats in a day. But actually, they're probably operating at a much faster rate than we are. But apart from rushing around like mad people, what do they do that we don't? What do they focus on that we don't? What do they learn that we don't? We need to think about how we would spend our heartbeats. Use it more wisely. Think about how we invest in ourselves. Do you use your heartbeat? How do you use your heartbeat? Do you use your heartbeat positively or negatively? Do you use your heartbeat in love, or do you use it in hate? Do you use your heartbeat in prejudices or intolerance? How do you use your heartbeat? What's the best way of investing in your heartbeat and your time? None of us have an over or a never-ending time on this earth. None of us have or know when our heartbeats will stop. So we have to think carefully about how we invest and what we do with it. One of my favorite sayings is, or to quote one of my favorite sayings, live like you've never been hurt. I think hurt is too much to hold on to, so live like you've never been hurt. Live like there's no tomorrow, because we can't guarantee there is tomorrow. And I think the last line of that is dance like no one's watching. But you can guarantee that someone will be watching. By the time I've finished this talk with you, I will have invested about 1,000 of my heartbeats. I'm really hoping it will make you think differently about what you do and how you do it. I hope it gives you a mindset here on in about how you use your heartbeats. You have to, I keep going back, you have to invest in yourself. You have to think about what it is you're doing and how you're doing it. Because if you don't, then who will? And if you don't do it now, when will you do it? So please think about how you invest in your heartbeats and how you spend your time. One of the things that I frequently say, people always think they have loads of time. People always say, oh, I've got loads of time. But if you think of it about as heartbeats, when do you know that your heartbeat is going to stop? Do you ever walk around thinking that when my heartbeat stops, I'm out of time? Do you do that? So we need to drill down a little bit further and think about what we do. Don't take heartbeats for granted, just like you don't know how much time you have, you can't take that for granted. Once they're gone, like time, once it's gone, you'll never get them back. You can spend money and make money back, but once you've spent your time, you'll never get it back. You just never know when your heartbeat might just stop. So I want you to make me a promise that you will invest wisely in your time, invest wisely in your heartbeats. Will you do that? Will you do that? All right, those of you who will do that, can I ask you to stand? Okay, so I want you to follow me both in words and in action, okay? So I promise to invest in my heartbeats, focus on my focus, and make sure that I use my heartbeats wisely. Because they can be gone in the blink of an eye. Come on, action. The blink of an eye, in a sharp intake of breath, and the beat of a heart. Thank you so much for sharing at least 1,000 of your heartbeats with me. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.